calling all owners of side-by-sides and golf carts. If you're looking for a simple audio system that's a little more than simple, look no further. Memphis has a few soundbar solutions you might be interested in. These soundbars are equipped with up to 10 speakers, 400 watts max of power, and a head unit with, get this, a backup camera input and RGB lighting control. So stay with us. Hey, what's up? Josh here from Breakers Stereo and Performance. Welcome to our channel that reviews all the best in car audio, performance, suspension, and more. Because we don't drive stock. And if you're like us, where stock just doesn't cut it, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Okay, so Memphis makes this bar in two different sizes, the 24-inch and this one, which is the 35. Now they're gonna have the same features, except for the 24 inches is gonna have 4 less speakers. So you get 4 3-inch mid-range and 2 tweeters. With the 35, you get 8 3-inch mid-range and 2 tweeters. Now what makes this bar very unique is it does come with its own LCD head unit controller. And that controller is full color and also has a backup camera input, which is great. So if you're putting this on your side-by-side and you want to back up, put it in reverse and it'll automatically show you the backup camera. Now that can help out big time, especially if you have your helmet on and you can't turn your head all the way back. Another thing that this has that makes it pretty unique, it has an RGB output. So if you have exterior RGB lights, whether it be underglow, wheel well, or even LED whips, you can hook it up to this bar and control it. Another cool thing is if you wanted to add a subwoofer to this bar, this does have a subwoofer output, and I would imagine it does have a subwoofer output level control as well. So you can really build a system off of this bar. As far as sources are concerned on the head unit, you got Bluetooth, auxiliary, USB, a weather band, which can come in handy, and also AM, FM radio, which I don't think you would use too much. There's also a built-in equalizer, and we'll go over that a little bit later. And in addition to the subwoofer output, you do have a 2-zone output as well. And this whole unit is IP66 water resistant, so it can definitely take on some moisture with no problem. And the built-in amplifier is rated at 200 watts RMS and 400 watts peak. As far as clamp fitment is concerned, it's adjustable from 1 1/4 up to 2 1/4 inches. Oh, one more thing, there is an optional wired remote that you can add to this, model number MXA1MCR. And that's a small little puck that you can mount on the rear of the vehicle or a different part of the vehicle so that other people other than the driver can control the volume, the track up and down, and the play and pause. Okay, let's unbox. All right, so of course you get your manual, I'll give you a little sticker. All right, so this is your wire harness. So this is a fairly easy installation. So you just need to find your power, your ground, and then some type of accessory, okay, or ignition. And on the length here, I would say right about 10 feet, maybe a little bit more. All right. Then you have the clamps. Let's go over that really quick. All right, so you have the upper and lower clamp, and then you'll get screws here. Okay, so they basically give you different size bolts, okay, depending on how wide your bar is. And then they have an anti-slip that goes on the top and bottom of the clamp. And then I believe these are gonna be the screws that go in, the clamps into the bar, okay, and also some wedges here. So as you can imagine, this thing is actually pretty heavy. All right. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier. On here, you'll have some LED lighting on the speakers, okay? We have our plug here, and then you have a little antenna extension. So we take this and maybe run it on top of the bar so you can get some reception. On the side, you would hold this down, and that will change the color of the LEDs. And then we have the little head unit that's mounted into the bar itself. And then behind here, behind this panel, you gotta unscrew it here. We're gonna have more of the wiring. So here we have, this is gonna be your RGB controller. So as I mentioned earlier, if you've got RGB lights in the vehicle, you can tie them into here. It will correspond with the lighting on the speakers on the bar. Okay, and then here we have our RCA inputs and outputs, camera input, we have an RCA output, zone 2 output, subwoofer outputs, and then this is an auxiliary input, and this is the camera trigger. So if you're using those, awesome. If you're not, you can stuff them back in. If you are using some of them, then what you can do is put them back in just like that. And let's say you're just using your RGB. Okay, and you can put this back over the top. There's a notch there. Okay, Okay, and then you would go ahead and just screw that back in. Okay, so here we have our source. We have FM, weatherband, AM, Bluetooth, USB, aux, and then also your camera. If we go into the menu, we have zone 1, zone 2, subwoofer. There's also a low pass. All right, that's nice. So you have 80, 120, and 160 to choose from. You have the beep on or off, clock setting, language, area. Okay, either Europe or USA. That's probably going to be for the AM, FM, local, stereo, mono, and then your dimmer. And then you have brightness, contrast, hue, and then that'll reset, and that'll give you the software version you're running. All right, so on the bottom you have either daytime or nighttime. So that would be nighttime. This would be daytime, so that you're able to actually see this during the day. Then you have your seek, play, pause, back seek, favorites, or preset stations, I should say. And if you want to go directly to the camera without being in reverse, just hit the camera button. Okay, now in order to adjust the sound, you have to go into the menu. Okay, go to zone 1. Here you have your bass and treble, also your balance. And then there is an equalizer, pre-made equalizer. I guess I really wouldn't call it that because it's only bass and treble. There are some presets for different types of music. It just adjusts the bass and the treble. And if you just go to user, then you just adjust it on your own. So it did say it had an EQ, didn't really have an EQ, it just has bass and treble. Okay, now on the side of this, we have a button. If we hold the button down for a couple seconds, it'll light up. And if you tap it, it will change colors. Okay, so we got it installed in our golf cart right here. We're gonna go ahead and do a dB test, see how loud this thing goes. It has that good bass. So I'm actually quite impressed with the amount of bass that this has. Granted, they're only 3s, but they actually sound really good, and the tweeters sound nice and crisp. On the dB meter, we got to 107.8. That's pretty loud. Definitely enough to fill this cart. Now, one of the key things on this I didn't mention earlier is you're gonna save money on installation. So this particular unit is $750. I don't think we talked about that earlier. The smaller one is $700. So for 50 bucks more, you're better off going with the bigger one with double the amount of mid-range speakers or bass speakers that are in here. But on installation, basically it's power and ground and an ignition, and that's it. So it's a pretty good value here if you factor that in. All right, so if you're interested in either of these sound bars, we're gonna leave links in the description below. That'll take you directly to the product page. Remember, we do have financing available. Simply add to cart, pick a financing option, get approved, and then we'll send your sound bar out to you ASAP. My name is Josh, I'm with Breaker Stereo and Performance. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.